thank you all for joining us today for the launch of the Free California C4, which will be focused on educating voters about the Second Amendment rights, and we'll be holding elected officials accountable for their votes on the most egregious gun bills in the nation. This morning it is my pleasure to be joined by Tim Knight, spelled K-N-I-G-H-T. He is the founder of the Recall movement in the state of Colorado, a very similar blue state with very similar demographics and party registration as the state of California. He is, Tim, I'm happy to say, is a native Californian who is concerned about the state of his home state, and he'll be talking to you a bit more about that. Very pleased to also be joined by Sam Paredes this morning. He is the leader of the Gun Owners Association of California. Sam is very well respected in the Second Amendment community in the state of California as well as the nation. I think you'll find that Sam was an instrumental partner in this effort going forward as we look to recall elected officials in the state of California. And then also joined by Assemblymember Tim Donnelly, who is here representing not only himself but a growing coalition of legislators who will be announcing over the next few weeks who will be joining us in an effort to hold their colleagues accountable for their votes and for their speeches that were made in support of the strictest gun control in the nation. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Tim Knight, who can share a bit more about why he's come to visit us in the state of California today.
Sure. Hi, I'm Tim Knight, and I don't normally know speaker, so I have these little notes here. I'm the founder of the successful recall movement in Colorado, but I was born and raised in California. Many Californians and people across the nation feel that California is lost. Well, I'm standing here with these gentlemen and in front of many others to tell you it's not lost. We will defend her. She needs defending. Before I started the successful Colorado recall movement, I had never been involved in politics in any other way other than voting. Myself and thousands of others decided that we'd had enough. We were no longer going to let others take away our voice or our rights. They were ours to defend. Join me in support of California and our nation. At least once, many of us took an oath or a pledge. We said, "To the republic for which it stands." Now is the time for us to stand for the republic. Thank you, and I look forward to working with my fellow Californians. Thank you very much.
Hello folks, Sam Paredes, Gun Owners of California. I have to tell you this, that since the governor's actions in signing bills and vetoing bills, we have been inundated with calls and emails, communications from people all over the state of California asking us, what are we going to do about this? How are we going to respond? We don't have enough members in the legislature to overturn or to stop the legislation that is continuously proposed to abridge our right to keep and bear arms in the state of California. Well, there is something that we can do in our Constitution, in our governmental system here in California. We have the ability to recall legislators who we believe are taking actions that are contrary to the good of citizens in California. And that's exactly what we are going to do. If they're going to continue to propose dozens and dozens of bills to affect our Second Amendment, we are going to use whatever means are legally available to us to fight back. And the recall is one way for us to send a message. If you're going to continue to do this, we're going to continue to fight. And that includes challenging members of the legislature. How we do it, who we pick, is going to be a very interesting thing. We're almost to a point where we are beyond personalities. The authors of the bills and the most vociferous opponents of gun rights. We're to a point where we're counting numbers. They have a lot more numbers than we have, and we have to get numbers back. And that's going to be our goal, is to fight and a war of attrition on their part. But we are going to be very active, We're going to be very intelligent and smart about it. And I can tell you this, in 38 years of being involved in politics, I have never seen a grassroots growth effort that is coming from all corners of the state as I have on this issue. You know, I'm sure our friends in Colorado hate to think that, you know, some of us consider Colorado a mini California, kind of a mini-me California. They're their own people, but in politically speaking, they're going the way of California. Well, now we're going to go the way of Colorado, and we're going to fight back, and we're going to do everything we can to send a message. You see, people from all parts of the state, especially those areas that are represented by pro-gun people, they don't feel like they can do anything else. They want to do something else, and what they can do is participate and volunteer from all over the state in targeted races that are far away from their homes, and that's what they're willing to do. So much so that we've joined the Free California movement in order to help bring everybody together to achieve the goal of letting this legislature know that the Second Amendment is very important, and they should keep their dirty, rotten, stinking hands off of it. Thank you.
You know, every single one of us that is in elected office swears an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution. And right now, in the state of California, the Second Amendment is on the most fragile ground it's ever been on. And it is critically important, if we are to uphold that oath, that we send a message that if you want to mess with our constitutional right to self-defense, especially at a time when the governor and the legislature have realigned our public safety and have dumped tens of thousands of criminals into our neighborhoods, that we're going to realign you. And that's what this is about. This is about using the political process to hold people accountable to their oath and nothing more.
You talked about pragmatic and the lawmakers that you choose. Is there also some degree of pragmatism in a recall as opposed to a general, in that, you know, we saw in a special election, Senator Vidak, that, you know, in a election that's not, you know, November, the turnout equation is different.
Thank you for the softball here. Absolutely, the recall is a vehicle that we have to make a very painful impact on those people who are willing to do this. We hope that those people that we target, if they are successful in surviving, go to their caucus and say, hey guys, quit sponsoring these bills because this was heck that we had to go through and we don't want to go through it again. And if you guys keep doing this, we're the ones in jeopardy because we are in marginal seats or whatever. We want them to say, wait a minute. If they're not going to say, we're not going to sponsor these bills because they are unconstitutional, we want them to think, we're not going to sponsor these bills because they are too big a pain on us to do that. And that's a good thing from our perspective, because they will not listen to logic. They will not listen to facts. They don't even listen to the United States Supreme Court when it says that the Second Amendment is an individual right that is so important in a second ruling that they came back and said that not even state and local governments can infringe upon that right. Now the court said, yes, you're going to have to come to us to get further explanation on what that means. But the things that it absolutely did say, this legislature has completely ignored and sponsored a host of bills that violate the plain decisions of the United States Supreme Court. So they're willing to violate the Constitution like that. We're gonna wish them a very Merry Christmas. They're gonna be thinking more than just gifts and Christmas trees and you know, turkey and cranberry sauce. They're gonna be thinking about, crap, I have to go do a fundraiser in order to try to defend what it was that I did in the legislature to violate people's Second Amendment rights. My words, but that's one of the effects that we relish in.
When do you expect to have decisions on actually move ahead with the petition?
I would say in the next couple of weeks we'll be making a firm announcement on the exact targeted seats.
And then the timeline when you want to turn it in, and then I forget how many days it is for recall and gathering interest is supposed to
60. And the timeline's interesting. It actually puts us, someone said, well, are you concerned about the holidays coming up? And we said, heck no. Where do you stand to get signatures? You stand outside of a Home Depot. You stand outside of a shopping center. The holiday season coming up with the high number of foot traffic in stores makes the holiday season very attractive for us. So 60-day period to gather signatures. You could be looking at recall elections after the first of the year into the early spring.